the infamous, undeniable, the force of nature, the US dollar. Now, we got this nice little move that came out of that block. I told y'all, this is way too much consolidation for someone that should be just upward. If y'all remember, during the pandemic, this is one of the ones that was like that extension to that upside for the most part, because everybody was remote working. Now that we're back to normal, this is where it is. It fell off. This one right here is Black & Decker. Played this a couple times during the pandemic. Got a nice little drop off here, and then we got continuation that happened here, but you can kind of see Uber. This one right here is a very interesting dynamic. I still don't understand how they are right here, but hey, what's going on? Good morning, my neighbors. Welcome to another episode of BYTTT. Before you take the trade, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button, because it really helps this channel grow a lot further than where it is. I want to say thank you to everybody that is part of that 500 folks. And I did say I will give you something special. In the description down below is a link to my direct Discord. Yes, I do have my Discord. For all those that was anticipating, it launched in the end of October. It's been on the trial run since August. We cleaned up a lot of the junk, and we're gonna go ahead and get some work done. So that said, let's go ahead and get into the charts. We're gonna go ahead and look at NQ. NQ is trying to do something very interesting, because you gotta think about it. We had a massive run ever since April, and if we look at this chart, they are really starting to taper off here. So the important part is for you to understand that we are starting to wedge. This can be a pennant, or it can fall all the way through. We are far away from the 50 moving average. Do we go back to it? We did bounce off of it over here when they had the massive sell-off in October, but you can kind of see we are holding relatively well. So that said, just be patient and make sure you wait for your setup. All right, let's go ahead and keep this party going. We got our sales, oil, which is trying to fight to get out of this order block, and I was looking at a setup to try to play this to the upside, but it's just not cooperating. So I'm pretty much going to go ahead and leave this alone. But I would say if we could go ahead and break back under this, I think the reload area to get us back up to here is here. So look for prices to reject around 60 something, get under 60 and come up to 57, 56, somewhere around that ballpark, and then we could bounce right back and then get into that 65. We got gold. Now gold is interesting. Let me go ahead and bring in my daily update so you can kind of see what I'm looking at, and also I can go ahead and update it, because I know I probably got to do a little bit of update. Actually, there's not much to update. Jeez, this thing has given up quite a bit, and they've mitigated so many different things here so far. But this rise back above 4,000, I think that psychological 4,000 is probably going to be the most critical point for this market to go ahead and find out what it wants to do. So just be patient with that, and don't forget to chart your silver so that we can kind of get a gauge. If silver gets up into this register here about 49.50, look for a rejection, as it's going to drag gold up with it. All right, so we got British pound. British pound is starting to break down. I wanted to break down even further. I think that is the reason why the dollar is responding the way it is. So stay tuned. I'm gonna show you what that means. And then we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is falling off a little bit, but again, I am looking forward to get into that 100,000 level, and I think the rest of the market is also doing so. So just be patient with Bitcoin. Right now, it's at the bottom of a range. So even though it's at the bottom of this range, maybe we could get ourselves a nice little bounce and try to get back into 112, but it will be shallow. That's why I think we're ranging right now. If we could get this thing down into that 100,000, I think there's a lot of buyers that's sitting there. They can't wait, nipping it, like basically chopping at the bit to go ahead and take the stock all the way back up to 130, 125, because you can see that 125 rejection was very serious. All right, we got Russell. Russell is pulling back a little bit, but I think this one's going to be okay compared to NQ and ES. And then the last one is the infamous, undeniable, the force of nature, the US dollar. Now, we got this nice little move that came out of that block. I told y'all, this is way too much consolidation for someone that should be just falling the way we were rising, because the dollar should be falling as the market is making higher highs. We just kept on making higher highs and the dollar is not doing anything. So now that we broke above this level, we haven't been here since August 1st. All right, so just to kind of give you a little perspective, I want to see what they do with this 200 moving average, if we can get above that 100. And then we got this area right here. This is a strong order block here, but we could get as high as 101, and that will really put some pressure on the market. So look for a reversal off that 101 to start thinking, and the key word is thinking, for you to go ahead and play the market back up to the upside. All right, so maybe pull back. We'll see. All right, we have a lot to go over because we are in our earnings cycle, and there's a lot of earnings that's going to be coming out on semiconductors. So semiconductors has been going crazy all over the place, and this one is no stranger to that. Is it a laggard? Of course, because it's not as big as a market cap compared to like Nvidia's and everything else. But last time we had a laggard that was like that was Marvell. Yeah, we had this, and they started really taking up on this area. So January 2025, just to kind of give you a little perspective here, right? And let's go back over to on. This was July of 2023. They've been drifting onto this side. I think this is one of the ones that just hasn't got a little chance in itself. So don't be surprised if everybody pours their money out of semis and then they come to something like an on semiconductor. But we gotta wait for that earnings. The earnings are gonna be announced later on today. They don't really return much to the shareholders, and their revenue is lower. Hence the reason why their price is where it is. Right? There's a possibility that we could get ourselves a little bit of an issue trying to take this up into those registers, because it's not a profitable company, but I think there's more opportunity, maybe to $72, so keep that in mind. Tonight we are going to get Upwork. If y'all remember, during the pandemic, this is one of the ones that was like that extension to that upside for the most part, because everybody was remote working. Now that we're back to normal, this is where it is. It fell off of a cliff from like $64. They're supposed to be returning money to shareholders with $193 million in revenue. Hence the valuation is kind of low. But look at where we are. We're in the bottom of an equilibrium. Could they be building a base so that they can go ahead and push to the upside? Well, back here, they were over here, there was 128, and was it returning money to shareholders? Now they're returning money to shareholders after a long period of trial and error. Now they're a little bit consistent, and I think that's what's building the base. So I would say maybe this could be your little sleeper. Look for Upwork to try. Let's go with 2026 levels on the option contracts, people. Maybe at about $45. Because now they're starting to get the monthly 50 moving average, and we are above it. If the earnings is solid, I would consider getting that time frame. What else? This one right here is Black & Decker. Played this a couple times during the pandemic. Let's see something. Let's see. Got a nice little drop off here, and then we got continuation that happened here, but you can kind of see we're wedging against the price. So if we could get ourselves a nice little micro trend to the upside, maybe get above here, you could get a nice little explosion to go ahead and push right back to the upside. They do pay dividends, so maybe you want to wait till after dividends is paid before you do anything relatively crazy. That's going to be on December 1st. But if you're going to go ahead and do something that's going to play up into December 1st, then this could be a nice little opportunity to the upside as we start to take out the rest of this fair value gap. There's just a smidge, and then probably test the 50 moving average. So keep an eye out for $9,700 psychological, and that's probably what they're going to be aiming for. All right, that's in the morning. What else do I see in here? Uber. This one right here is a very interesting dynamic. I still don't understand how they are right here, but the revenue is up there, so I guess that's what the valuation is. If they miss this earning, which I'm anticipating that they may, look for this thing to kind of pull back, maybe get into that $82. That's why I'm sitting on quite a bit of cash, because I can get these things at a discount. We'll see what happens there. Then we got Shopify. That's going to be there. Let's go ahead and erase all these. Massive move to the upside here. If we're going to go ahead and worry about longer term time frame, that monthly will be great. But in the daily, for my day traders, you're probably going to want to head and try to play some of these gaps that's down here, because this move probably is exhausted. So just keep that in mind. But overall, Shopify is still making new highs. I'm not surprised, because again, a lot of small mom and pop companies are relying on companies like Shopify, Toast, and Square. All right, Zoetis. I hope I'm not butchering the name. Anyway, it's more towards the downside, and because they haven't recovered this area right there, I won't be surprised if this go ahead and try it at 124. Now, they do return money to shareholders, and it's a $2 billion company, but you would think that they would have had a nice little turnaround, and they do not. So let's keep that in mind. See if we can get a nice little push. Maybe get above 171. Let's see if we have anything else. Knife. Oh, this is on my list. I was actually toying with an idea, and they do return money to shareholders, but they got beat up really, really bad. And I think that people are going to wait for this earnings, because since you missed and got under $1, you better give me some more of my money back. And I think that's the game that they're looking at. Now, this is tiny candle, so it does feel like retailers are doing it, but generally speaking, that's massive. Okay, just massive. Now, they could be liquidating people just so that we can go ahead and get them out of there, possibly, but at the end of the day, that's a massive drop. Okay, don't let other people's money push it up. Pfizer, I don't like to trade that one. Kind of doesn't move well. Toast is a really, really good company. They're in a lot of restaurants. If you've been in any restaurant lately and they brought you an electronic credit card machine to just like some of the people that use Square, that's Toast. It's really, really good, and they're all in the restaurants. Arista Networks went off well. This was inside of my green list for a long period of time, and I sent this out to everybody. So congratulations to those that's been in there. Like I said, go ahead, click the link down below, free Discord, that way you can go ahead and join up for a 14-day trial. All right, let's see. Is there anything that is going to be fun for us? Rivian. Let's talk Rivian. There's some bottom of the barrel tickers that's always going to go ahead and try to bounce up and everything else, like Lucid that just went ahead and did a reverse split. But Rivian on this case, nice little head and shoulder move right here on the 15-minute. Let's see the daily. Listen, folks, I'm just being serious. If it's not returning money to shareholders, this is what you're going to face. And a lot of people jumped onto the stock because it was just meme-ish. Everybody wanted it, right? But this is what can happen to you. So just be very patient and make sure you're conscious on where you park your money. But yeah, maybe a nice little day trade and see if we can get in above this area and get through the gap to $14. That's all I see. Upstart. This one got beat up quite a bit. I'm going to start my lines over. And I thought this thing was going to be $100. They were right around here. I got stopped out of my position. This thing just dumped. It's at half its value at this point, which is very, very sad, because they use a lot of AI to be able to approve some loans. So it's not the fact that they're losing money. They got revenue and everything else. It must have been something in their guidance, knowing that the economy is down. And that's probably why, because there's no prospects. Live Nation, really, really good company to chart. I would suggest, if you don't know how to chart, this is a good one to kind of play around with. Very, very smooth, nothing like Tesla, right? That Tesla is not for the new folks. All right, let me get one that is just very massive so we can go ahead and tie a bow on Tuesday. You know what? I'm going to just touch on this, and I'm going to go to AMD right after, because that's going to be on Tuesday night as well. Folks, listen. Y'all see this chart. I just watched them. Let me be completely frank. I get it. There's going to be short squeeze. There's going to be opportunities. Hedge funds got to go ahead and reposition their money, which makes sense at the end of the day. It's supposed to be that way, but understand, these rug pull type of tickers, your Beyonds, your GameStops, your AMCs. I got a good friend of mine that's a bull on some of these stocks. The markets is not that hard. I'm telling you this right now. You don't have to worry about taking these meme stuff. If you just be patient, take one of my one-on-ones. I can show you how to avoid tickers like this and make money on real tickers, even as expensive as Netflix, even as low as like Square. There is no reason for you to deal with a company like Beyond, because I knew it was a rug pull. Everybody's like, oh, you're not going to get in? I was like, no, I'm not. And could I had taken this opportunity, but nothing builds bad habits and FOMO than tickers just like this. So I'm not a fan, and that's my take on Beyond. Anyways, we'll leave that alone. Let's go ahead and get into AMD. Now, AMD, crazy thing, I'm coming to a 3-month chart. I drew this line and I played partial on this. I did not think it was going to get to the new highs on it. I knew we broke the trend, but I was like, it's going to probably reverse because we're going into October. Very spicy coming off of September. Now, this is a very beautiful ticker. Again, companies that return money to shareholders deserves every bit of the money they have. I do think it needs a pullback because we're sitting on a fair value gap, and I think that fair value gap has to be tested or at least get close to it, so I can see AMD getting back to 227. And then if buyers really think it's worth it, they're going to buy it right back up. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at AMD. But that is a massive October month candle. Massive, solid gap. Oh, just a beautiful, beautiful ticker. And I was more focused on Marvell than at AMD, so I did not play AMD except for a small profit. All right. That said, I kind of covered everything. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. Go ahead and let your friends by sharing this to them so that way they can be able to be the best trader in itself. And click the link down below. Join our Discord because I want to be able to turn you into a profitable trader. And by all means, I want to say thank you for all my 500 and enjoy the free trial. Hopefully, you love what I have for y'all. You have a great day. Bye-bye.